This isn't politics. This is survival. Go.
Why are people losing their jobs?
An extreme concentration of power,
Donald Trump has broken the Democratic Party.
Is taking over our country. That matters.
I've never been involved in politics before, but this is getting really scary.
In just over 100 days, this regime has torn our democracy to shreds, shit on our laws, and pissed on the Constitution. Freedom is under attack in America, and no one is coming to save us. Today, we talk about the new American Revolution and how to crush the authoritarian takeover of America.
And if anybody was slow to wake up, nobody's sleeping now.
Most Americans are comforted in the belief that their government will step up to protect them.
But our government has declared a war against its own people.
The fact is, the American dream is back. It's bigger and better and stronger than
These are the sparks.
before.
This is how it starts. That ignited the revolution. Not with the yells of a coup, but with the chant. Sowing the vision. A whisper. A lie. A manufactured
Our people
enemy.
have a very serious problem. America's problem is us. We're her problem.
It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia.
And when they named the enemy, they came for them.
The cartels are gone. The criminal migrants are gone. The gangs are gone. America is for Americans and Americans only.
Everyone is an enemy. One by one, they carve up every scapegoat. The immigrants, the lawyers, the judges, the students. Then
The professors are the enemy.
This is a crisis for sure. We are being essentially extorted by the federal government that's lying to the American public.
And we are here today because our universities are under attack.
the regime is going after anyone that can come between it and its authoritarian rule.
So let's be clear that the attack on universities is due to the fact that universities are centers for defending democracy. So you have to target universities because, as Bangladesh showed, the students are the main enemies of authoritarianism.
Student-led protests in Bangladesh mobilized the entire country and took down the entrenched authoritarian regime. Hey, what's happening, revolutionaries? Hot news straight out of the Balkans. In Serbia, students march out dictator and march in democracy. Revolutionary thoughts lead to revolutionary actions. This is WRLD, your rebel radio. All power to the people.
Attacks on universities are the canary in the coal mine of fascism.
If any of us want to do the things that we want to do for our country and for the people who live in it, we have to honestly and aggressively attack the universities in this country.
And the people are waking up.
Leadership, backstabbing allies, and aligning us with shadow nations.
Democracies die in darkness, and rebellions are born from the shadows.
Wickedness in high places, rot at the top. Students snatched from campuses.
Residents, tourists, and now even mayors are snatched into detention centers, ambushed by state-sponsored terrorists, with no trials, no rights, no justice, no order, and no peace.
This is America.
These are the sparks that started the new revolution. America becoming a police
Republicans
state.
just voted to detain and deport United States citizens. Yes, you heard me right. United States citizens.
With jailed judges, drowning the truth in chaos, while a cockeyed Congress just watches.
Behind the veil of chaos lies the biggest spark so far.
Donald Trump is turning our country into a gangster state.
The grift is on, from mean coin scams to wholesale pardons, quid pro quos to deep state extortion. The White House is open for business.
He's a liar, he's a thief, he's a con man. He should be in prison.
First the sparks, then the smoke. Now the whole damn country's ablaze. It's hot in Hell's Kitchen. The question isn't if America burns down, it's who's left standing when the smoke clears.
Land of the free.
Do realize that we
brave.
face enemies, Because it's a very dangerous situation to have powerful and active enemies working against you and not even be aware that you have those enemies.
In spite of all this nonsense from the left, we are going to win. We're in the process of taking this country back. We are in the process of the Second American Revolution, which will remain bloodless if the left allows it to be.
Thank you for joining us.
The revolution is now, revolutionaries. They've come for our freedom, our democracy, and our complacency. How will history remember you?
One thing that history teaches us is that revolts are never simple. How they're remembered relies a lot on who's telling the story. Perspective matters. That's why I want to take a moment to spotlight the sponsors of today's video, Ground News. Ground News is a powerful app and website that compares how stories are reported across the political spectrum, left, right, and center. It also shows ownership data and factuality ratings that break down not just what's being reported, but why it's being framed in a particular way, who's behind the narrative, and how reliable it is. While working on this video, we used Ground News to dig into how different outlets covered protests against Trump-era policies. And one article that stood out tracked demonstrations across the country. Massive crowds pushing back against policies they saw as unjust. The same story was covered with wildly different tones and priorities, depending on the outlet. It's been invaluable for our research and a reminder that even facts can be framed. One of my favorite features is the blind spot feed. It shows you which stories are being covered by one side of the aisle and completely ignored by the other. It's the kind of feature that helps you see the full picture. If you want unlimited access to tools like this, use the link in our description at ground.news/Yarbros or scan the QR code to subscribe today and get 40% off the Ground News Vantage plan. At just $5 a month, you'll get full access to features like ownership and factuality ratings. By the way, subscriptions help keep Ground News completely ad-free, so what you see isn't being manipulated by corporate interests. Now, after the spark has been ignited, the movement begins.
If you ain't been going to Target, open up your mouth and give God glory.
Hey, revolutionaries. Grab your protest signs and dust off your shoes. The movement to the real Liberation Day has begun, and it's growing stronger every day.
No guns, no army, just people power.
The movement broke Tesla, cracked Target, and critically wounded Elon.
How are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty.
Teslas are being torched across the country.
Yeah, I mean...
Dealerships shot up and set on fire.
50 states, 50 protests, one movement.
Tell me what democracy looks like! This is what democracy looks like! Tell me what democracy...
Revolutionaries are turning out for freedom.
Parts of NATO Parkway had to be shut down due to...
I think it's absolutely great. People are fed up with it enough to come out in numbers like this.
Hey! I want their hands off my country, and I want our country back.
We're out here because we're defending democracy.
USA! 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 USA!
I've never been involved in politics before, but this is getting really scary.
Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side, and the one institution that has stood by our side is the court. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
Action was organized by a coalition of groups representing unions, veterans, immigrants, and the LGBTQ+ community and others.
To work with anybody and form coalition with anybody that has revolution on their mind.
The way democracies has died over time has changed. Since the end of the Cold War, the way that democracies die is through elections at the hands of elected leaders, and then once in office, dismantle democratic institutions.
To be sure, the right to remain uninformed is one of the privileges of a democracy, but in a contest such as the one we are engaged in, it is one of the surest ways of losing our freedom.
People are starting to put the pieces together.
Orban is actually modeling
for the Republican Party in the U.S. how you can actually lead with culture wars and wind up with dictatorship.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is widely cited as a model. He's been able to shut down the opposition by cowing the judiciary, intimidating the media, and closing universities. The Trump administration has taken similar steps in its early months in office.
Viktor Orban is somebody I respect greatly. Viktor Orban, Viktor Orban, Viktor Orban. Did you ever hear of it?
Millions of Americans are unifying and mobilizing to stop the coup that is attempting to co-opt our democracy. As the number of active participation joins the ranks, the closer people are to tipping the scales and reclaiming our democracy.
Amazing statistic is that if 3.5% of a population peacefully demonstrates for a change, it's very likely that that change is going to occur.
The tipping point is when the resistance becomes an unstoppable, unshakable force.
History shows it doesn't take everyone, just enough of the right kind of pressure at the right time. Let me show you what I mean. Harvard political scientist Erica Chenoweth co-authored the book Why Civil Resistance Works. They spent nearly a decade tracking and analyzing the outcomes of over 300 violent and nonviolent revolutions. And the results will shock you.
What we know is, at least from 1900 to 2006, I don't know of any nonviolent mass movements for democracy that failed after achieving 3.5% active participation.
What's even more surprising is that nonviolent movements are twice as likely to succeed. Here's why. In an article written about their research, Chenoweth argues that nonviolent movements work because they recruit across the spectrum of society, which can paralyze normal life wherever the movement decides to direct its will.
There are a few key attributes of successful nonviolent movements. And the first is that youth, women, business people, faith leaders, members of unions. So large, diverse movements are difficult to suppress and have a lot of power. Second, we know that tactics of non-cooperation, so consumer boycott, worker strikes, walkouts. So the third is like being able to bring about loyalty shifts and defections in key pillars of support. Business leaders no longer support regimes, when faith leaders stop providing moral sanction, and then finally being able to maintain resilience in the face of repression is key to the success of movements. So we're seeing all different kinds of repression targeting individuals, targeting law firms. How do you make that repression backfire on perpetrators so that they pay a price politically, economically, financially?
When I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that. You're going to have to say that I am a proletarian. I am the people. I'm not the pig. You've got to make a distinction.
The next days and months and years will demand from all of us great courage and solidarity. Be prepared.